Hey everyone, I'm here with Kevin Muldoon, a WordPress blogging pioneer. He is the former founder, owner, and editor of both bloggingtips.com and WP Mods, among others. He is a certified WordPress and blogging expert with loads of experience in blogging, affiliate marketing, forum creation, and a wide range of other specialties that fall under the broad umbrella of internet marketing. Thanks for joining me today, Kevin.
No problem, Nathan. Glad to be here.
Did I miss
I'm not sure what to say after introduction. Whenever someone says what you've done online, it always sounds a bit too much, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I got all the major bases there.
Yeah. I mean that's what I'm known for over the last 10 years. Certainly, I hate to use the word expert because I'm not a developer for WordPress. So as far as actually designing plugins and themes, it's not something I have a lot of experience with. But yeah, I have been writing about WordPress for a long time, so I do know the platform very well. As I'm sure many people do now because it's powering so many websites on the internet. It's getting more popular every year.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, since we were just talking beforehand, we did a blog series. We call them WordPress Tracks over at kohi.com. And we just finished up a track that we titled How to Build and Run a Successful WordPress Blog. And seeing as that's something you've done several times with sites that were your personal projects, as well as you've helped clients, you've come on board as a blogger and really turned some sites around. I thought we'd invite you to share your story, share your process, and maybe we could learn a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, I think with blogging tips, but when I launched blogging tips, I'd actually been working online for 7 years, so I'd been making websites, kind of mini content websites and discussion forums and things like that. But when I first started, it was a lot of coding. You had to manually edit a lot of code, and then when I got into like CMSs, content management systems, WordPress just saves so much time. And blogging tips, I mean, I'd run a couple of blogs before that. I had a blog for a poker forum that I owned, then I had a personal blog for my family and friends when I was traveling. But blogging tips was my first kind of proper blog, if you could call it, first commercial blog. And I made the same mistakes that everyone did. I launched the blog really with a lot of enthusiasm, and I launched it, and then I just burned myself out. I was writing every day for months and months on end. Thankfully, I brought in writers, but I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. But I think everyone gets through that learning curve with blogging. I think it's the same as anything else. When I launched WP Mods, I think it was 3 years later, I handled it a lot better, and I think I took WP Mods to the same point blogging tips was traffic-wise and income-wise in about half or a third of the time, because I'd learned a lot from my previous website. But one of the big things that I did, as I say, with blogging tips was I didn't really plan anything. I didn't really have an idea in my mind where I was going. I was just really enjoying it. Yeah. But I think it's good to take a step back. When I sold blogging tips already, I was already working on WP Mods, and I basically spent about 2 months writing articles, planning like a kind of online strategy is where I was going to take the blog. And I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I could give to someone is if you're going to launch a blog, if you can write a huge amount of content initially, be it like a month or 2 months worth of content, I think that really helps you, because when you first launch a blog, you're spending a lot of time trying to promote it, and guest posting and comments and emailing people and all these kind of things, and it takes up a lot of time, and trying to do that and write content as well is very difficult. So when I launched WP Mods, I had about 2 months worth of articles scheduled. They was scheduled like I can't remember if it was like every single day or if it was like 3 or 4 articles per week. But it allowed me to do a lot of guest posting, a lot of promotion, and I hadn't done that before. Obviously, if you've got a large budget, if you're a company, that's not something you have to worry about. You can throw money at a blog, you can hire people to do these things. But if you're a one-man band, I think that's really useful. If you can get ahead of yourself, and it's quite frustrating to do that, because when you've got everything set, once you've got your design, once you've got everything set up, it's quite annoying to not launch because you really want to get the blog going. But I think it does pay to kind of hold back a little bit, schedule a lot of articles in advance, just focus on the content, and then when the blog launches, you can do a lot of commenting, connecting, networking, and then you don't have to worry about writing articles, because try to do everything at the one time is very difficult at the beginning.
Absolutely. You mentioned at the beginning with particularly your first two blogs, which you really became known for, you didn't really have a primary topic or plan in mind. You just were really excited and you jumped in. Has that process changed for you over the years? I mean, now when you're doing a forum right now, I think you might have I don't know what other websites you're running, but what is that process like right now? And yeah, please go ahead and plug your project.
Well, the discussion forum is riseforums.com. And I keep kind of changing between it being my main project and then thinking, no, it's just something in the background. But at the moment, I'm kind of blogging in my own personal blog. But I've kind of moved away. I've done a lot of freelance blogging in the last year or so. And I don't know if I wouldn't use the word lost, but I've not had that big project that I've been working on. I'm kind of working on something with some friends of mine now. We're looking at doing a kind of service for LinkedIn where we connect a lot of businesses, you know, so it's like B2B marketing. So we're doing a lot of research. So I'm kind of just, I wouldn't say plodding along, but I'm just working on my blog and writing for others in the meantime before we get that launched. Yeah. Before I kind of get my teeth into a big project. But as far as with my personal blog, I've always that was the next blog I kind of started working on, and it was something I never took seriously. You know, in the past, like, I've had my personal blog online for like, I mean, what year is it? 2015, I think, since 2007. But it wasn't a serious blog. You know, sometimes my blog posts back in the beginning were like 50 words long. You know, but this was before the days of Twitter and Facebook. You know, so I would sometimes do a blog post just to share a video that I found. Yeah. You know, it was more like a kind of Tumblr.
Yeah, almost like a status update or something.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
Hey,
it was
what's going on, world? Yeah.
Yeah, and just shared a little thing. I didn't really focus a lot on it. But it's very hard to juggle freelancing for others and updating your own blog. Oh yeah. But I do like writing for others as well, because it allows me to write about a lot of different topics and things like that too. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of some of the launching process of products and projects and blogs, you know, in the track I wrote several articles where I focus on the importance of branding. I mean, and I'm approaching this as someone who does like content consulting for people. So if they're starting from scratch and we have the benefit of going, you know, let's sit down and plan something that's going to be a success from the get-go, not something that we sit around and pour a ton of time and effort into and only figure out what's going on, you know, like 6 months to a year down the line. Yeah. And so I like to focus on branding right at the get-go, like right at the beginning. Let's go, what do we stand for? Who are we? And let's have everything kind of grow organically out of that. I'm very like values oriented in that sense. What is that? Has that ideology or approach played a role in your project? Yeah, I think. Well, as far as writing for others, that's something that I've noticed a lot of other companies. I mean, we saw like with the changes with Google, we've seen a lot of companies add blogs that before they didn't care about blogging, you know, but now they can't use their black hat techniques to get traffic. They have to do it, you know, using the correct methods, and they've added blogs. And a lot of these companies, like a lot of them, I've had to explain to many clients, like, you should display the author's name, you should display the author's picture. And they're like, why? Because they think we're trying to self-promote ourselves. But I was like, no, the readers have to connect with the author, you know, and that's something a lot of them don't understand at first. And I'm like, but people need to connect with the person, because if you don't, it just looks like another generic article that was like rewritten using software, you know. But when they see the face, when they see that it's a real person there, and they see the Twitter account, you know, they can connect to the person a little bit more. And it's little things like that, you know. With companies, obviously, I mean, I guess being personal is still something that is important, but I do appreciate with company blogs it's a little bit different. They need to toe the company line and be a little bit more official. But branding, certainly, branding and being given something a personal touch, I think, go hand in hand most of the time. And as you say, I think you need to plan out things long term, because you can kind of plod along, but you need to sit back and really, if you can, before you even launch the blog, just write down 100 topics, or you say 100 topics, but say 10 general topics you're going to cover, and then from that you could write 100 article titles, and then go, right, we could schedule this over time, then we could focus on this, do case studies, do tutorials, do this, and kind of plan a future of content over 6 months or a year. But I mean, it's different for every blog though. I mean, different blogs have different targets. So you really need to step back and, as you say, look at what is the goal here. Are we trying to gain traffic? Are we trying to just connect with our customers or subscribers? And what is the goal? And in that respect, branding is, it's obviously one of the most important things to do.
Yeah, I mean, another recurring theme throughout the multiple posts in the WordPress track is the idea of identifying your key objective. Identify, what do I want to accomplish with this blog? What do I want to accomplish with this post? What are my overall goals with the whole website? And making sure that those are all integrated there, and you're not doing too many things at once. Like if you want one page to do one thing, then have it do that, and don't worry about it doing 100 other things at the same time. So I think your idea of planning in order to achieve your goal, I would consider that the same thing. Objective, identifying your objective, and
I mean, like companies have different objectives too. For a lot of them, a lot of companies will say we need like certain keywords mentioned, and some of them will even say like you need a 12% keyword. To be honest, I normally turn down clients when you start talking about that. You know, we need a 12% SEO percentage with this plugin to, and I'm like, but it makes it very difficult to read the article. I think
I've always erred on the side of if I can build a relationship with somebody, that's better than a percentage point.
I mean, I think a lot of guys who are running blogs or companies and specifically, they're kind of number people. They want to hit the numbers because they've read that certain amount of weight for keywords is how they get traffic. But along the way, you forget that you need to write for the reader. You need to write for the person reading it, and Google wants that too. And so do other search engines. So if you write for people, then you're going to get the traffic. Indirectly, people are going to share it, and then you got higher in the search engines. I think the way that I always look at blogging is sometimes in my personal blog anyway. I mean, I do occasionally do little rants and just complain about things, off the top of my head because it is a personal blog. But in general, I think with blogs, what you should do is either entertain people or solve problems for them, and that's the basis of blogging, really, or most blog articles. You're really saving people time. If like whether it be even list posts, sometimes they get a bad rep, but they do well in search engines. And for example, in the WordPress niche, 100 themes or 100 plugins, and the reason they do well is because trying to search for those plugins yourself, takes a lot of time, and they get traffic because there's a lot of people looking for like membership plugins or e-commerce themes, and if you're doing a list for those people, you're saving them time. That essentially, when you break it down, that's what you're doing for them. You're saving them time doing it themselves. You're doing the hard work so they don't have to. And I mean that transfers to whatever your topic is, that will transfer. Whether it's, as I say about entertainment, if you've got a football or a basketball blog, the top NBA players of all time, you're entertaining them. You've given them a reason to stay there basically and read.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with blogging content in particular and different people's styles that they might develop, if they can just keep those two things in mind that you mentioned, you're solving a problem or you're entertaining. If you can do one of those two things, you have a huge leeway in style, in content type, whatever you want to do. But it's, like you said, it's making sure that it's working for the reader. And I love that. I think along the business world, I definitely think solving problems is the way to go and to educate. And there's good examples of blogs. I was talking with some friends the other day about Neil Patel and Quicksprout, and about how, his blog is fantastic. All the content is really high quality. And the blog is essentially a way to push his services, but he doesn't push it through the content. If you know what I mean, and it's all in the sidebar, it's all, and it's on the website, but he's not pushing it through the actual content, so people are not, they're encouraged to share the content because it's so good, and that's what he's doing. He's essentially helping people solve problems and educating them, giving them advice, and that's what it is, really helping people. And I think for business blogs anyway, that's essentially what you always want to do. You want to help people and save them time, and there's no reward for keeping secrets. You really should be open, about things, and even be open. There's a lot of people, and they'll say fake it until you make it. That kind of cliche where you kind of pass yourself off as experience when you're not. But I think there's a lot to be said about just being open to people. Like, I don't know this, but here's what I've learned. Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of blogs that become very successful because of that.
Well, that creates a narrative that is more compelling than, hey, I'm being vague and mysterious. If you don't know the answer, but you're committing to find out and report back, that's a story that someone can put themselves in and they can follow along, and that's a motivation for them to come back and continue to engage with you. And it also builds trust. It builds credibility, whereas
definitely.
the fake it, make it doesn't build any trust or credibility.
Well, I mean, and it can get you into a lot of trouble when someone else steps in and says, "What are you talking about? That's terrible advice." You know, so if you're going to find yourself in deep water if you do that. But I think, as far as passing yourself off as someone's, I mean, I don't like the word expert, because sometimes it can come back to bite you. You know, when someone thinks an expert, it's as if you know everything when you don't. You know, if things change, if you don't blog for a few years, things will change in your niche and things like that. But I think as far as passing yourself off as experienced, it's easy to forget that there's actually a good market. There's a market out there for not being experienced, look, for being a beginner and writing about from a beginner's perspective. For example, again, like in the WordPress world or blogging world, there's certain things that I can't write about. You know, like this, like for example, topics that I wrote about 9 years ago, 10 years ago about beginning, like starting a blog and how to gain traffic and using beginner methods. I couldn't really write that well now because, you know, I'm experienced to the point where it's very hard for me to explain it in a novice's in a way that novices would understand, if that makes sense. You know,
absolutely.
It's like I don't know, like if you've got a top NBA star, try to explain something very simple to him, and it just becomes natural to him. He doesn't even think that would be a thing
that someone needs to know.
And there's certain things that it don't even cross my mind that someone would have difficulty with. I mean, I get that sometimes in the forums where someone would ask that, and I'm like, how did you not know that? But then you forget. You've worked online so long, you forget what it was like in the beginning. So there is a market for being a beginner, intermediate, you know, or advanced. You know, just be yourself and fake it until you make it. Don't do that. Basically, that's not the way to do it.
That is great advice. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about choosing the right tools for the job. Is there a certain process that you use when it comes time to build a blog, launch a blog, or any of your other WordPress projects, in deciding which themes and plugins to use and when, where, and why you're going to use them?
I mean, obviously, every project's different, but I do find that I've got a kind of go-to set of plugins that I use for most projects. I mean, I back up on my WordPress websites with WordPress. I use WordPress SEO for the SEO to improve SEO, and I would have to check my plugin list, but I mean, there's about 10 or 15 kind of plugins that I use and I tend to just go back and check my main blog to check which ones that I always use, and then I just upload them to the other blogs. But there are some things that you would only use in certain blogs. The great thing about WordPress is whenever you think, oh well, I need to add this to my website or etc., you know, you just go out and find it, and there's always a solution. There's always someone out there who's had the same problem. It's very rare now that you have to get custom work done, in my opinion.
I think so too, and along the lines, I guess, to kind of dovetail back to the previous conversation a little bit, is, you know, there's a niche now more than ever, I think, for power users, people who are not necessarily, they're not developers, but they're experienced enough and they've used certain library of tools enough that they can really get in there and do something dangerous with these tools. I mean, they can really create something cool and create something effective. Yeah, well, I mean,
one of the biggest things. Sorry to interrupt there. One of the biggest things about the market is going now, I think, is page building. You know, there's all the like visual composing and things, and if you look at all the top themes on ThemeForest, they're all in one solutions. They all allow you to create your own pages. They all come with like 50 different skins. And people don't want to go out and buy different themes all the time. They really want something they can just build whatever they want to, you know, using that theme. And
what's your theme of choice right now?
The one I've got on my blog actually is just a simple blogging theme that
is it Genesis?
Very minimal. No, I actually used Genesis for 3 or 4 years, and this was one from I can't even remember the author's name. In fact, I'll check my themes to get the name of that theme.
Okay.
It's just a minimal blogging theme, but they didn't actually release it commercially, I don't think they wanted the hassle of supporting it and updating it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a kind of minimal style. It does look like a Genesis theme, though.
Yeah, because I knew you were a fan of Genesis for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it had the same look, so I thought that might be what you were still running with.
It's called Tribe.
Tribe or Tribe?
Tribe. Tribe. TRIBE.
Okay.
Like an American Indian tribe, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can get it at tribetheme.com, but they still have it as if it's in beta and it's not launched yet, so you have to add your name and email address. It's just I think it was designed for writers and bloggers. You know, it's really simple. It doesn't have a lot of features. But yeah, before that, I used about 3 or 4 different StudioPress designs. You know, Genesis child themes. But I still love Genesis, but I've found that they've kind of dropped the ball a little over the last year or two.
Yeah, I've actually picked up a few of their child themes recently, or semi-recently, and you know, I was really kind of bummed out with the ease of use. I mean, like, I feel like every other major theme author has made it incredibly easy to get the blog or site that you want, and I still feel like there's a significant amount of tinkering that has to be done with the Genesis child theme to get it to be where you want it to be.
Genesis more. I think Genesis is more for developers, if I'm honest. It's like little simple things that you can do with other, you know, like, I mean, go back just a few years. If you wanted to remove like meta information or something from your blog post, you'd be going to single.php and just remove just remove it directly. It was very easy to do, but like with Genesis, to do that, you need a function, and then you need to copy the function from their forums or their tutorials, and then copy it into the functions.php file. And it's not very user friendly for beginners in that respect. So there's kind of pros and cons. In general, for my personal blog, I don't really have to do a lot of modifications, so it's not a big issue for me. But it's certainly not as user friendly as other solutions out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the one thing I think that's disappointing me is they've not been releasing a lot of designs. So a lot of the designs are starting to look a little bit dated. Well, I wouldn't say dated, but you know that everyone else is getting more advanced. You've seen all these WordPress theme companies; they're releasing all these different themes, and they're not really releasing a lot of themes. So they are still updating and supporting their existing themes, but they're not really coming out with anything new.
Yeah, I'm wondering if their new focus is really on their hosted platform.
Yeah, the Synthesis.
Yeah,
I used that actually temporarily. It was awful.
Wait,
well, I didn't like it personally.
Not Synthesis. I mean, Synthesis does power it, but it's the content marketers platform. I'm brain farting on the name right now, but it's.
Did they not remove that? You talk about the one from Copyblogger, Premise.
Yeah. Copyblogger is. I'm talking about they have a new blogging service or a new content marketing service where you get like a standard WordPress website. Watch, we're going to spend time talking about it, and I'm not even going to be able to find it.
It's yeah, I mean, as you say, it could actually be a conscious decision to move away from the WordPress theme market because, you know, the WordPress theme market's a lot more competitive than it was a few years ago.
Found it. It's the Rainmaker platform. Have you seen this yet?
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, go to, let's see.
Oh, I see on the homepage they've got free trial.
Yeah. So if you're at copyblogger.com, you see, so their Rainmaker platform is basically they took all the WordPress management and tweaking and stuff out of the hands of the end user, and basically they have their own themes and tools in place, and everything's just kind of, you get in there and you just start creating content, and they have all your funnel building and all your marketing tools there that they built and that they've incorporated into WordPress. It's interesting. It's treating WordPress as sort of like a back-end services platform instead of...
Yeah, it's totally transformed WordPress. It doesn't look like WordPress, to be honest. They've changed the whole interface.
It's interesting, and I think that instead of themes, that might be their new thing. That might be their focus when it comes to WordPress.
Yeah, I hadn't even looked at that. I hadn't even noticed they were doing that. I never really checked Copyblogger. It was always StudioPress that I checked. I mean, I still do like StudioPress. Their support, I was always impressed by their support. You know, the forums, you always get a quick answer.
Yeah.
To any problems you've got and things like that.
Are there any other themes that you've used that you feel like, you know, there's a handful of themes that you would encourage people that are trying to launch a blog to at least check out?
Well, there's that many now. That there's, I suppose, Elegant Themes Divi is one of the most popular ones. I used to always criticize Elegant Themes because they used to release 2 themes a month, and then it got ridiculous. They've got like 90 themes in their in the back catalogue, but most of them, all of them, the quality was very low. You know, they were all kind of very dated looking, but they've focused all their attention now on just working on Divi. So over the last year or two, they've really took that forward. It's still, I mean, I guess the pros of like an all-in-one WordPress theme is also the cons. You know, like is when you throw millions and millions of options at something, it's fantastic, but then it's a little bit overwhelming at first as well. You know,
yeah, I've started to refer to Divi as the Photoshop of WordPress themes.
Yeah, it's the number of options is insane, but then like when you go back to StudioPress, you go, oh, it doesn't have many options, but then that's one of the best selling points as well. Yeah, very simple. You just upload it and then you go. I've been testing a lot of WordPress themes, but I wouldn't say that all the premium market is very similar, but it kind of is in a way. You know, it's got to the point where all these themes, they're all offering similar features. They're all offering portfolios and galleries and like option pages that have got like dozens of options in different settings areas and things like that. And if they don't offer page building, they normally support a page builder such as Visual Composer or something like that. So I think it's a great time to be a WordPress customer, you know, as far in that respect, because but the only thing is it just takes longer to find the theme you want because there's so much choice, you know.
So many choices. Let's talk money. Say you're a blogger, a new blogger getting started. You got your theme, got your design, got your essential plugins, created your content strategy. You got everything in place, and you're publishing, and things are going pretty well. How does somebody take the turn into starting to make money off their blog?
I guess, I mean, again, it comes down to the niche. Some niches are more profitable than others. A good example of this was a friend of mine was using WordPress for a small loan website. So it was just it compared 5 different loans in the UK. And for something like 150 visitors per month, he was claiming in dollars, probably like $7,000-8,000 a month. Oh, wow. So I mean, it wasn't technically a blog. He did have a blog. There was adding content to, but it just illustrates the point. You know, there's certain things are easier to make money from, you know. But I think in the blog, it's really a platform to push other things. You know, I think Darren Rouse did a diagram of this recently for ProBlogger, and he had like in the middle he had like a circle with his blog, and then he had all these little circles. You know, I was going to say a word for the diagram. I can't remember the word for it. I've not used it since university. You know, you get like the little circle, and then there's these circles coming out, the lines going into it. Like the Venn, like a Venn diagram. I was going to say Venn, but then I thought that's not the right word. Okay, is it a Venn diagram? Think so either. No. But anyway, he had the blog, and then he had services, he had books, and then he had all these different things. But essentially, when you've got a blog, you've got an audience, and that's where you can make money from. It's no different from like a magazine or anything. So I suppose the basic ones is you can display banner ads and text ads. You can display you can sell reviews. You can things like that, like directly on your website, on your blog. But then you've got you can push services. You can sell books. You can sell other types of products, physical and digital. And you've seen there's a lot of actually. I've seen some blogs, and they start off just as a content blog, and then eventually you go to the homepage and they've changed to an online shop. You know, they've started because the online shop's taken over, and the blog has become, it's went to domain.com/blog. But I think once you've got the traffic, once you've got an audience, that you can do anything really. Yeah, what's worked particularly well for you? Well, I mean, for my personal blog, I've been pushing my services as a freelance writer, and I've also been pushing traffic towards my discussion forum, and people can upgrade there to like a premium membership. So I've just been pushing it there. But my blog has been one of the best ways for me to find work as a freelancer and for consultation and things like that as well. And the other blogs, with Blogging Tips, I tried lots of different things. Some worked, some didn't. bloggingtips.com actually, I had the banner ads, I had text ads at the time. Everyone was selling text ads. I was selling reviews, and I think I gave away lots of free WordPress themes at one point, and then I gave away lots of free ebooks. But then at the end, I was selling a premium theme. You know, so I was trying to do that with WP Mods as well, sell a premium WordPress theme. But I kind of moved away from that because it was finding it hard to juggle all the things at the one time, you know.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, if you've got an audience, though, there's nothing you can't do. And it's the same. I mean, I've seen people doing it with YouTube in a similar way. You know, once they get to a certain level of success, they can promote different brands, they can sell things, you can launch products. But again, it does depend on what you're doing. You know, if you've got a sports news blog, you'd really go down the business model of impressions and selling ads. You know, where if you've got something really niche, then it's easier. It's probably like if something niche is probably harder to get traffic with at the beginning, but then it's easier to sell products to the audience, because like, for example, if there's a girl who gives makeup advice, you could later sell books, you could sell like makeup related products and things like that. But the possibilities are limitless. Ideally, in an ideal world, you would really be thinking about all these things before you even launch your blog.
Yeah.
You'd be looking at, you would do a plan, you would do a case study, and you'd look at like 20 other blogs and go, right, these are my competitors. How do these blogs make money? How many articles do they publish in a week? You know, and that's really what you should be doing before you launch a blog. You should really be looking at, right, okay, these ones are making money just through ads. These ones are making money through like selling products. These ones are selling services. These ones are, you know, you'll maybe even find ones where they're just focusing on growth and they're not making any money at all. One of the good ones, I'm sure you've heard of buyselads.com.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, for those who don't know, it's just a marketplace you can buy banner ads. But one of the good things about buy sell ads is you can look at any blog or website in the directory, and you can see how much money they make. You know, because cool. you know that buy sell ads take a 25% cut. So if you can go into a large blog, let's say and it tells you how many impressions they get, so you can go and say like they get 1 million impressions, and then you can just look at all the ads that they're selling, total up, and go, well, they make $5,000 per month just through buy sell ads, you know, and then they'll be making more money than that. They'll be making money through reviews, sponsorships, competitions.
It gives you a ballpark.
Email list. It gives you a ballpark. Yeah, you could see how much they're making through that. But in general, though, I would say that the blogs that are pushing products and services don't tend to display banner ads, etc., as much. You know, but the ones that are relying on ads, they're they're using a lot of techniques to try and get more traffic and more page impressions. So this is where your Twitter and your Facebook comes on, and this is why it bugs me. But when you go in and someone says, check out this article, and it's like a list of 20 things, and it's on 20 different pages because they want to get the page impressions up. Yeah. And you're like, this is doing my head, and just put it all in the one page.
Yeah, you know? And they've got everything's flashing and blinking on the page.
Yeah, and it's just... But I do think, like, once you've got a blog, you've got an audience and you can make money.
You used to be a pretty... Sorry, go ahead.
No, on you go.
You used to be a pretty big proponent of affiliate marketing. Do you find yourself still doing a lot of affiliate marketing, or is that time more or less past?
I do still make a little bit of money through it. I've had good experiences and bad. I mean, there's companies like Template Monster, for example. I'm still getting commissions from referrals I made in 2003.
Oh,
and they
wow.
still, you know, things like that. You know, I still occasionally get referrals from years ago, and they're still paying it. But then you've got other companies who either refuse to pay or just decide to cut their affiliate program. And so it's a little bit disheartening. I was trying to move away from it, to be honest, because there's a lot of ups and downs with the affiliate marketing world, and you always have to be chasing that. And I think a lot of companies as well, when they come in, the affiliate program is one of the first things that go when a new company takes over. So when they talk about lifetime commissions, you're lucky if you get 3 years out of it.
Oh, wow.
You know, and there's a lot. I mean, even in the WordPress world, you saw like companies like Woo Themes. They just said, "No, we're not going to."
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're done. And I mean, at the time, I was probably making a few $100s a month with them, and then that just goes boom. That's out. All the articles you wrote promoting their themes, everything, all the work you've done is just gone, and there's nothing you can do. So there is that risk, and then I've had companies like, you wouldn't expect this, but like a company like Fiverr, like, you know, 5hour2hours.com.
Services, right?
Yeah,
sell services cheaply.
So I wrote a couple of articles about them, and I was making $200-300 a month just from them, and then they just stopped paying. They just stopped paying me. They still owe me like $500 whatever dollars, and they just stopped paying. They stopped replying to emails, and they just stopped paying. And I mean, that's not uncommon. That actually happens more often than you expect, and that's why. I mean, as far as promoting these companies, there is a high risk of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm talking about something on my blog and they have an affiliate program, I will probably link to it.
Yeah.
So it's not my main source of income, but it's something it does still dribble in every now and then.
It seems like at this point, with affiliate marketing and the state of it and kind of some of the situations that you just mentioned, it's worth it if you can kind of do it with minimal effort. But if it becomes something that you're doing a ton of time and you don't have any security, you might want to balance it out with some other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to how you set up your business model online, how you're setting up your business. Like I purposely moved away from affiliation because I wanted something more tangible, something more reliable. Before I did WordPress, I was involved in the poker world, gambling.
Yeah,
kind of related, and I had a poker discussion forum. I had poker blogs, etc. And when the changes were made in America, the whole thing just went crazy. And I had companies like Full Tilt Poker where I was spending $1,000-2,000 a month on competitions to promote new people to come. And then at one point, Full Tilt just went, "No, we're not paying affiliates anymore." And at this point, they were paying me $2,500-3,000 a month, and then just went boom,
yeah,
gone.
And that's a huge chunk, if not most of your income at that point. Probably.
Yeah, it was. I mean, thankfully at that point, I'd had blogging tips for a year or two. And even a couple of months ago, PokerStars, which at one point there was for a couple of months I was generating like $20,000-30,000 a month. Commissions just by. Yeah, it was crazy at the time. I don't make that now, but at the time I was making an insane amount of money with them. And last month I had an account with referrals. Like my account had something like, I don't even know how many players I had referred to their business. Perhaps 10,000, perhaps 20. I don't know. It was an insane number of people. But they said we noticed last month you hadn't referred any new people under the terms and conditions that we basically made up last month. Your account is now closed. So it was like, even though I wasn't making a lot of money with them now. I was only making $100 or $200 a month, but they just closed the account and they went, no, that's it, it's closed. Even though I was still, so all these lifetime commissions, they're not really worth anything.
Yeah.
It's the internet, it's still the Wild West in a lot of ways. All these contracts mean nothing really when you sign them up for them.
Interesting.
It's unfortunate, but I would still do it. I just don't want to rely 100% on affiliate marketing.
Yeah,
I think you need to get income from a lot of different sources.
What's a method that you've seen someone use successfully to monetize a blog that you're kind of looking to try in the future? Or is there one? I mean, you've been around the block, so.
Well, it's Darren Rouse from Pro Blogger is one of the best examples as far as diversification. As far as that goes, he's one of the best examples. He's making money through a forum. The job board alone probably makes $2,000-3,000 a month. He's got books. He's got ads. He's got an email list that probably converts very well.
Yeah, and
he's got all these other kind of services. And I like the way that he diversifies, and he's got so many different things come in, so that if one thing starts to go down, the income goes down, then he's still got all these other things that are doing well. But it's difficult because I think that's something I've always found difficult, because I think you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, but at the same time it's better to focus all your energy on one thing.
Yeah, you have to strike a balance between spreading yourself too thin and putting yourself at risk to lose everything. Yeah.
So I think, if you do lots of different things, I don't know. It's like if you've got a forum and a job board and all these different things, and you're focusing all your energy on all these different things, would you be better off just by focusing all your energy on the forum or on the job board, or But I do like his business model. I do like the way that the blog is central to everything, but he's got so many different ways to make money, and affiliation and ads and all that as well.
And I imagine it helps when you get to a point where you can hire other people to manage certain aspects of those things.
I actually wrote an article about this, about the fact that, I mean, ProBlogger, I don't know if it still does, but at one point it was relying, I think it was like 60-70% of all content was just guest posts.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So there was no expenses, there was no fees.
I find that kind of questionable, but that's probably a topic for another discussion. Well, yeah, I think that was the flavor of your article, if I remember correctly, too.
Yeah. I basically said that bloggers sold themselves out really by doing the whole guest posting thing. Like, it's kind of like, we're not going to go into that too much detail, but there was a period of time for a year or two when people were constantly emailing me, like 4 or 5 emails a week. Oh, we love your work. Can you write for me? Can you write for me? I'm like, oh, okay. And then like, these are my rates, and they're like, what do you mean your rates? Like, we'll give you one link. We'll give you one link bank. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend a full day writing an article to get one text link. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay the electricity. But because of the whole, again, it's kind of came full circle. With all the changes with Google, they realised that all content isn't equal. If your content's rubbish, then it won't get ranked, it won't get linked. So all the free guest posts kind of dried up in a way. Yeah. So it's kind of helped guys like myself that were still doing freelancing for money.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we've been going for about 40 minutes here. I think it's been a really good talk, but I want to close with just a kind of a parting thought. I mean, if someone has been following along, we've kind of jumped around from a lot of different topics since we started. If there's like one thing you'd want people to remember from this conversation, or just about building and running a successful blog, what's the one big takeaway that you want people to think of? Not to put you on the spot. But.
No, it's okay. I mean, I've said this before, I believe, in an article, but I think treat your blog like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, you'll get hobby results, really. So treat it like a business, and by that I mean, there will be times when, like, if you set yourself a target of, say, an article on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, there will be times where, you want to go out with your friends, and there'll be times you want to go to the gym, or you'll be tired, or you want to watch TV or something, but you need to make those sacrifices. You need to put the time in, and I know that it's really difficult to start, especially if you're working full time, you've got a family and things like that, but you need to make the sacrifices, because a blog, the hardest part is getting it launched. Once you reach a certain level, it gets easier. Once you've got an audience, once you've got traffic, once you've got income, you can hire other people. But in the beginning, especially, you need to treat it like a business. So that means putting the hours in, writing good content, researching, and giving it the respect it deserves. If you just turn up and write an article whenever you feel like it, every couple of weeks, you're not going to get an audience. Yeah. And another tip I would give is again, to come back to what I said at the beginning about blogging, there is a learning curve. I don't think I started from the beginning, because I was already making money online when I launched the blog. I wasn't starting from scratch. But I think one thing to do would be to get a tablet or an ebook reader and go to somewhere like Barnes & Noble or Amazon, download 5 or 6 books, and just sit one weekend or 1 week and just read as many books as you can. I may get, but I just these ebooks, you can buy them for $3 or $4 or $10. Just buy some of them and just read them all, and it could save you a lot of mistakes that you're going to make. So just read the books, get an A4 piece of paper, sit and write notes, and then start planning out what your blog will be like. Most people don't do that, and I can't criticize them, because I didn't do that. I just threw myself in the deep end. But I think looking back, it would have been really good if I could have just read some books and learn more about the subject matter. And that goes to not just for blogging, but if you're launching a blog about a certain subject, be it...
Got to know your subject.
Anything, like in the background I can see a bike, so if you're doing cycling and it's something you just start and it's a hobby, you could maybe buy lots of bikes about cycling, and then you'll be reading the books and you're like, oh, that's a great idea for a blog post, and you write it down, just things like that. So you really need to know your subject matter. Yeah. And I think it's really handy now. You can buy things like Kindles, and you can read anything you want very easily. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet. And yeah, there's no excuse. You need to learn about the topic that you're writing about, even if you're a beginner. You still need to learn.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's the way I would look at it anyway.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for hanging out, talking.
No problem.
A ton of awesome information with everybody. Every time I feel like we get together, I feel like I learned something or I'm reminded of something that I need to keep in mind. So thanks for being a good guest, good host.
Thank you. Not a problem. The one last thing I would say is guys like ourselves that have been blogging for years, again, like they call us experts and things, but the one thing to remember is there's no one way to do anything. That's another thing I would say. What worked for you probably wouldn't work for me. What worked for me probably wouldn't work for you. And it's like the old Bruce Lee thing where you just take what works and throw away what doesn't.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but that's essentially what he said. Just take what works from something and then throw away what doesn't. And the same applies for blogging. There's lots of people who have did things I would never have done and they became successful. So read all these books and take the good things from them. And if you disagree with someone, that's good. Just do your own thing and just work hard. And in the end, I think you'll be successful if you work hard at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it almost gets to the point where there's so many competing voices in your head. You have to get with like influencers and experts and gurus or whatever. You have to get to the point where you're comfortable in executing based on your own experience and authority. And
you need to find your own voice and play to your own strengths. There's guys who, for example, on YouTube, they love being in front of the camera. There's people who don't even use their real name. They use an alias online, things like that. You just be yourself and just play to your own strengths and just learn from others, but realize that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Absolutely.
You can do a lot of different things and can be successful.
All right, well, that's the end of this interview. Thanks for watching, everybody, if you're still with us. And if you have any questions or comments, obviously hit us up in the comments section, and I'll make sure Kevin gets this link. And
I'll drop by as well.
All right, and we'll talk to y'all soon.